Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Eric.
Hey, I'm back. Survived. And I did not like what you did in the last episode, Eric.
You didn't have to. You weren't there. So this is our bonus episode that we're doing for everyone. Bonus episode 10. And joining us today is Colin.
10 is an excellent number. Can I tell you about the significance of the number 10?
Absolutely not.
Oh, God.
It's 1 and then a 0. Okay?
We fell into the trap.
It comes after 9 and before 11.
The Roman numeral of
Oh my
X
God,
is
it
also...
separates 9/11. Lizard men.
Oh, no.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Hi, everyone. This is Colin.
Obviously, everyone knows Colin. He's been on a lot of our Mechanicus episodes. Mm-hmm. And today is kind of an episode all about him.
It's a weird deep dive. We're not going to learn a lot about my backstory or my personal
Your origin
lore.
story.
My origin story. Well, as a young boy.
No, we go back earlier. When Colin's mother and Colin's father.
So thank you for having me. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about a project that I've been working on really in the last month. And what this is it's Cold Open Stories. It's a anthology audio drama project where what we're doing is every month or so we are writing a script set in the universe of Warhammer 40,000. What we then do is put it out to the listenership, at which point you then audition and you get to play the roles of the different characters. And so something fun. Like to think it's pretty unique, and it's a great way to build community and bring people together.
That's the one thing I really like. So you're going to hear a bunch of different voices when we're listening to this. And this is just random people that have found out through either Lorehammer or your own personal life or whatever.
Yeah, those we put out the casting call on social media, so the best way to find us is going to be on Instagram or on Twitter. Those are Facebook as well, the main platforms at Cold Open Stories.
Yeah.
And you're going to hear a bunch of different voices. You're also going to hear music from Robert Renato Hack. He is the composer for these.
Yes, of course.
You'll know him online. His account is Officio Audiorum, and he does a lot of 40K.
Eric's giving me this look like I don't know who that is.
No, it's not that. It was just, it sounded like one of those, like, of course. Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course we know him.
So we've got two stories here today, two short audio dramas. The first is called The Echo of Satellite 66B. And the other is called, and that's a bit of a thriller, a bit of a mystery suspense. And then we also have March for Mars, which is our action, adventure, military story, and big robots squishing Tyranids. And so
Your favorite.
The sound effects of that. How did you get that squishing sound?
You went outside.
That repeated squishing, like flap, 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 squish, squish, squish.
Ew, what? No.
So
I was going to say that he went outside, took a microphone, put it on the ground, waited for a cockroach to come nearby, and then just stepped on it.
Oh, no.
slowly,
Yes, no,
no.
of course. You can hear the juices oozing out of it. Its eyeball pops.
The sound design has been a really
Do
interesting.
cockroaches have eyeballs?
Of course they have yeah.
Are they
right?
balls? They're eyeballs?
They have like lenticular lenses of like it's like a fly, right?
Sure.
Someone write in and correct. I actually don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is a podcast
Cockroaches
about
don't even exist.
Lorehammer.
Have you ever seen a
They'll be
cockroach?
I have.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Well, maybe clean your house, I guess. We'll find cockroaches.
Are you assuming it was in my house? Oh my
was
god.
yours.
Because I've been everywhere you've been.
derailed.
Sound design's been interesting for this. So what we did is there's two forms. We have either digital sound design, where Robert and myself have worked on putting together different sound effects that you'll hear. And then we also have Foley, which is the equivalent of me standing in a enclosed room, smacking shoes together, holding a tin box, shaking it around. So we're trying to give a lot more production value than to say, hey, we're just doing a reading of something. We want to feel a little bit more lived in, a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
And
I got this great cough right now if you want a soundbite of that real quick.
let me hand over the microphone. Don't cough directly into it. Okay.
Just in case it comes up.
Here we go. Let's get it, Mark.
Oh my god, right into the mic.
So I think that'll be perfect for some sort of nurgly sound
Yes,
effect.
yes.
People in the
Yeah, I'm
trenches.
trying to help you as
during
best
war.
I can.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So and thank you, Eric, and thank you, listeners, for tuning into this bonus episode of Cold Open Stories and the two tales that we have for you today.
Okay, well, I guess let's get right into it and listen to our first one.
listen carefully. Despite what you might have heard about there being no sound in space, that's not entirely true. Turns out, even without oxygen, all that emptiness between the stars can carry a pretty good tune. Now, I'll come clean. They aren't sounds. Not technically. They're electromagnetic vibrations. At first, they can sound like white noise, but after a while, you start to pick up patterns. That's what I do. I'm a naval echographer. Rather than recording people, I decipher spaceborne acoustics. High-piercing crackle? That's probably a magnetic field from a gas giant. Static radio that breathes in and out? That's the runoff of a cloudy atmosphere. When you're an echographer, you listen, hoping to pick up any hint of disaster before it's too late. But eventually, something slips through.
Naval Intelligence has placed the system on high alert as
debris from the shipyard falling from orbit and impacting the city.
It was because of our lack of faith we did not give our spiritual tithe to
Elder Corsairs spotted on the fringes of the system, although some cults are claiming responsibility, such as
the cult of the severed veins launched our successful attack at
the dry docks over Ivus 4, where we, the priests of Blight,
brought the Imperium to its knees.
It all started with the Urathian, an Imperial Navy Exorcist-class Grand Cruiser when it went cataclysmic while docked over Ivus 4. Its explosion vaporized 44,000 people aboard instantly, and echographers heard its death rattle across the system. I was 2 worlds away, and it was like someone set off a firecracker in my ear. When a Grand Cruiser blows up, it's a big deal. We're talking about a ship over 7 kilometers in length, 37 megatons of steel and hate. And these are mean ships. They're meant for outpost assaults and search and destroy missions, so they're carrying all sorts of ballistics. They're the workhorses of the Imperial Navy, so when one goes boom, everything on it, in it, and around it, well, they go boom too. Obvious to say, but the whole shipyard it was docked at was destroyed. In the chaos that followed, another 64,000 people were killed in orbit and 112,000 crushed by the debris falling out of the atmosphere. Now, if there's one thing we humans are good at, it's getting whipped into a fury. The Imperial Navy took their classic shoot first, ask questions later approach and prepared to go on a tear across the sector, destroying every enemy holding they knew about. I was almost ready to go, until...
They're calling for an investigation.
It was Gregory Lepar, my lieutenant and commissioned officer.
The request came from high up. They want an official report to stop all speculation. Small team.
It was only a few days after the explosion, and conspiracy theories were rampant about what blew up the Urathian. Some people were assuming it was a stealth Xenos attack, and others believed it was some coordinated strike from numerous cults taking responsibility. Claiming to be the doom of the Imperium? It's a competitive market. Okay, I mean, that makes sense, but how? All the visual arrays were blown to bits.
Long-range acoustics were still receiving. Central said to check all eyes and ears. Thought of you right away. Figured you'd understand what's what.
That's perfect. Where am I headed?
I'll set you up on a watchtower. You do all the records you need to carry out the detective work.
Gregory, sir, I feel I'd be more useful off-world. Maybe aboard a cruiser, or...
We have enough Fox quarters.
Right, but echographers are different.
You're not going to get yourself wrapped up in a fight? Listen, if you stay put here...
Right, but if I'm off-world, I could pick up signal arrays and maybe other interference.
I know, but the assignment is not
Whoa, what about an impact sonar array? I heard that the one on the Dauntless Will of St. Catherine, it was broken. I could get it back up and running.
I've already submitted your transfer.
Wait, sir, I could pick up the Vox.
Listen carefully. As fun as this is, going back and forth with you interrupting me, this placement is happening whether you like it or not. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to see the stars, or hear them, whatever. But this is bigger than you. Frankly, you can do your job just as well from a watchtower. You could track down what you need from there, alright? Good hunting.
Good hunting.
The transfer was immediate, and I was stationed far from active duty doing forensics in space. I was relegated to a watchtower to pore over mundane ship communications, shortwave transmissions, and ambience of those stupid neon docking signs. My world, like every other world in the Imperium, had a tithe of soldiers to commit to the war effort. I was the one man trying to get off-world who seemed like he was never going to do it! So I sat back and did what I was told. No.
Does not believe in the corpse god. Our noble ironclad only serves the War Master.
Finding an answer was like trying to find a needle in a stack of needles. For weeks I lived in the past, combing through recorded logs for some clue. Every receiver in range was either malfunctioning or destroyed. I couldn't even stitch together fragments. I lived in a world of jumbled noise. Jammers, broadcast stations, bursts of static. Patience is a virtue for echographers, but even we have limits. No.
But do you validate partying? No, I do not.
I'm gonna be here for the rest of my life. The explosion seemed to come out of nowhere. Truly nowhere. No build-up, no preemptive rumblings. I turned off the recordings and just listened to the solar winds rushing by. Listening to these sounds can be kind of eerie, but I don't mind. I always imagined myself traveling and recording new acoustics for the Navy. It's like listening to a cloud. My recordings give it shape. It's also exhausting. And after a few hours, you just need rest. For a few minutes. I woke up feeling like I heard something out of a dream. In my sleep, I must have knocked my antenna towards the wreckage of the Urathian. Hello? Is there anyone out there?
Hello?
Shit! Gregory, sir. What's the word from the front?
Crowded. It's turning into a full crusade. The admirals have sequestered the neighboring fleets.
Yeah, I heard.
It's insane. Did you hear the Astartes are on their way?
Space Marines?
In the flesh. Haven't seen one yet, mind you, but soon.
Lucky you.
Hey, every little bit helps. So how are you? How's the investigation?
Well, to be honest, it's been a bit of a slog.
You get the recording logs I asked them to send you?
Yeah, just noise. But I might have found something.
Are you pausing for dramatic effect?
Sorry, it's just an echo.
An echo?
I found something moving in the Urathian's wreckage.
So you've got a lead. That's good. Which log?
No, it wasn't a log, it was live.
That's not a thing.
It's active. I can hear it correcting its orbit. It's not in any of the resource logs, though. From the drag, it might be a satellite or a relay.
And it survived the blast?
Well, I guess.
The blast. The one that punched a hole in the atmosphere. Yeah, that's what I thought. Stick to the logs. Don't go causing any problems for me. Alright?
Wouldn't have been a problem if you took me with you.
No shit. Hey, I'm trying to keep you out of harm's way. Astartes or not, this war isn't for you. You get that, right? It will eat you up. Alright, good. Is there anything else?
Yeah. Could you just call Naval Intelligence?
No.
I just need to know what this is.
I have a reputation. I'm not asking my bosses whether they're doing their jobs right. And you're not calling them either. Understood? Under no circumstances are you calling Naval Intelligence. Say it.
Under no circumstance will I call Naval Intelligence. Stuck on the watchtower with no clues? I pulled the only option I had left. I had to hear what killed the Urathian.
Office of Naval Intelligence.
Hello, this is Gregory Lepar, EGH 1123. I just had to hope that nobody recognized his voice. I wanted to inquire about a anomaly that I'm picking up.
I'm opening a report now.
I have a echographer doing a back check on the attack of the Grand Cruiser Urathian. He picked something up, but I don't have access to it in my logs. I'm wondering if it might be one of yours? Grid 66B.
That satellite has been listed as decommissioned.
I knew it! There was something in the log. Excellent. How long ago was that?
I don't have any clearance for that request.
But you see it. You just don't know if it's working.
That satellite has been listed as decommissioned.
Look, I have some Astartes who are asking about this thing, and they don't like to be kept waiting. If you'd rather talk to them, I can patch them through.
Looks here like it was a Kha'Zix pattern satellite. Old reliables.
The gates to Holy Terra open before me. I'm getting exactly what I want.
That brand picks up signals great, but they're old. No bells or whistles.
So it could have survived the blast. Could you patch me in?
Easily. But they only have one feed in. Uplink can't handle it.
Guess I'll have to get to it manually.
I'll close this report. What's your ID number again?
You're breaking up. Good hunting. I'd found it. The smoking gun of what destroyed the Urathian. Satellite 66B. I wait a few hours for Gregory to come back into range and try to give him a call with the good news. Gregory!
Hello.
Oh. Sorry, I think the line was crossed. I'm looking for Gregory Lepar, commissioned officer.
Lieutenant Lepar is unavailable.
Oh. Okay, well, do you know when he'll be back in range?
He's in a meeting right now.
A meeting? All right, well. I leave my station and put down roots in the mess hall of the watchtower. Outside the windows, I can see the mess of rubble from the Urathian's graveyard. Months later, and we're still cleaning up what was left of the shipyard. It's quiet. No traffic to or from. My imagination wanders and I begin to see it as a bit of a mausoleum. I imagine moisture collecting on the inside of its steel carcasses. Ice building on the frozen ceiling and decks. On the bones and human remains.
Quite the view.
The stranger takes a seat across from me. His face is like a moon, pale. His features are foggy.
Do you hear anything?
Huh?
Out there. Have you heard anything?
No.
I heard that they were going to start cleanup next month.
That's wishful thinking. There's a lot to clean up.
The way I see it, the road to victory is under construction.
He pulls his cape around him like he's covering himself from some unseen wind.
What's that pin?
This? Oh, yeah. I'm an echographer. What are you doing here?
My duty. An investigation.
Naval Intelligence?
Higher?
Should I be saluting you right now?
No, my branch is discreet. But I appreciate the offer.
I glance up at the man in black, and his features are like smoke. His cape is loose-fitting, and I look for a badge or commendation. Nothing.
I heard some rumors about the wreckage.
Everyone has heard the rumors.
Traitorous cults?
Probably.
I've heard it might have been something else.
Yeah, well, there's certainly enough blame going around.
I'd never condemn a man for his speculations.
I felt myself compelled to tell him. Whoever blew up the Urathian went out of their way to cover it up. They hijacked the only listening satellite I could find. I think someone inside the Imperium is behind this.
Dangerous line of thinking.
I stopped myself from talking. Something about the man was hypnotizing. I just mean, whoever did it could still be out there. We should find them, right?
We could. Their actions could be seen as treasonous or merciful. You know, your ears could be an asset.
Sorry, who are you with exactly? Because I know that if you want something from me, you're going to have to go through my CO.
I'm a listener, much like yourself. My family was higher stock, I mean no offense. They had great plans for me. Told me to stop listening to the stars and to bury my nose in the grimoires. There were a great many things I needed to know for the tasks ahead. Threats within, without. But my curiosity was an asset, an inquisitive mind, and all that.
Holy shit. Inquisitor. Secret police. Inquisitive?
Yes.
You already know who blew up the Urathian.
He is close to me. He is my quarry.
I remember his face better now. A rabid savagery in his features. Madness washed across it, and I felt sucked into whatever crazed humanity filled his soul.
It was a great loss what had to happen, but there are worse things than Xenos and heretics. You have started to find this out. You can come with me and I show you, or you can find out on your own. Either way, loose ends have a way of tying themselves up.
I dropped everything and ran out of the watchtower. I had to be on the opposite side of the planet. I raced down to the loading dock and looked back, and to see him standing at the end of the hall, the man, his pallid face staring back at me like a ghost. He looks at me and I can hear his voice echoing in my mind.
Worse than Xenos. Listen carefully. Good hunting. Listen carefully.
You can't go! I push myself through a group of people and hop into one of the bathtub-shaped space floaters. I close the lid and start flipping every switch labeled D, hoping one is for disengage. It works! The loader is thrust out of the watchtower, spinning it over end. I look back, the watchtower. I'm drifting away and try to calm my heart from the inertia. My heart is beating out of my chest. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm so dizzy.
And like the darkness of space, everything goes black. The proximity sensor wakes me up. Where am I? I look around. There's wreckage everywhere. I've drifted into the Urathian's graveyard. Surrounding me is a maze of metal beams and ruined towers of ships. A road of debris weaves through the broken hulks, and light from our distant star is peeking through the holes in what feels like an abandoned city. Mine is the only beating heart for miles. I try to call Greg using the loader's feeble equipment. They must have got him too. The sensor starts blinking. Something is moving, drifting through the cloud of wreckage towards me. I see it. A satellite. No bigger than a fridge. It looks rough, caked with burns. But on the side of it, clear as day, scorched in white paint, Satellite 66B. It drifts through the ruins, baiting me. The answers to the mystery are just within reach, and that knowledge is a lure. Is this fate? I pump my pedals into gear and my personal rowboat kicks forward with a few short bursts of ignition. I pull up alongside the satellite and move out my manipulator arm to turn the thing over. From the looks of it, the satellite was closer to the Urathian than I expected. The whole thing was licked with plasma marks. I manually tether and crack open the access panel. Inside, the data wafer is safe and sound, still flickering. I uplink through the loader's external port and give 66B a quick scan for files. No signs of rewrites or any trash. The recording inside hasn't been tampered with. It's the genuine article. I begin a boot up. The sound flickers on and it's static for a few minutes. I swallow. What was the deal with that Inquisitor? What did he say? I remember his eyes with a chill crawling up my spine. My head is still foggy. He knew what happened to the Urathian. He said something about Xenos and heretics and something else? I curl my lip and lean around my dashboard to look out the glass at the satellite's markings. A crackle in my headset. All right, here it comes. I'm expecting a magnetic pulse or a wavefront when... Holy shit! The hair on the back of my neck is standing on end, and all of the loader's systems are fried. I'm in an 8-foot tin can with nowhere to run, trapped with 66B and what its sensors had picked up. I realized that whatever killed the Urathian wasn't an alien or a man. It was something else. Abyssal. Unthinkably large. The sound of a galaxy come alive. The Inquisitor had covered it up. He was right to. In the void of 100 billion stars, I feel myself shrinking. I'm orbiting a planet with no propulsion, no way of calling for help. All I can hear is the echo of the recording. They're talking to me, and it's all I can hear. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want to hear it. The sound is alive. All this time, the sound is alive. Listen carefully. Forget what you've heard about there being no sound in space.
All right. From one gnarly voice to my gnarly voice. Who was that handsome devil?
How'd you know he was handsome?
Yeah, it was an audio drama.
Well, mental projection. No,
you had a storyboard.
Ooh, I like the way that guy sounds. He must be handsome.
So Echo was actually our pilot. This was our idea of saying, well, what tools do we have? What can we get away with in sound design, in collecting a few people? Obviously, when you're starting out, you don't have all the resources or tools. So this really was a proof of concept.
Yeah, for your first time doing anything like this, because you're not like in your day job, you're not like a sound engineer or you're not anything like that.
No,
you're just.
Yep. No, I'm me. No, I'm me, but I'm not a sound engineer.
Yeah, exactly. So for your first time, it's very, very good.
Thank you.
I got a couple things I really like.
Okay, well, what did you like?
So for me, I like kind of the small details that are just like a throwaway line that don't have anything to do with the story. Like obviously the story's cool, but it's like these small throwaway lines that like make it feel 40K and also kind of captures the themes of 40K. Like when the one guy's like, oh, the Astartes might be coming, like I might actually get to see one. Like that's such a small, cool detail to me because it's, you know, people think that Astartes are everywhere. They're doing everything, but you're lucky if you ever see one.
Mm-hmm. Well, or unlucky.
Or unlucky, yeah.
I'd go for unlucky. So
the other detail that I really like too, it is just like from hearing that sound, how it literally drives the guy mad. Like, I don't think we give enough credit ever to like how it's not like demons are scary. They just fuck with your brain. Like
exposure to them will kill you.
Yeah, it'll just mess with you. It's you could have the bravest guy ever, and like it's still gonna mess you up because it's not just like.
It's not just another monster. This is
exactly.
It's resonating on like a level beyond your reality.
Yeah. No, but like I like all the little minor details that make it just feel 40K, and that sometimes other people will overlook, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
kind
Mark.
of stuff.
Thank you.
But like obviously, like the story is very cool. Like it, I heard it way back when it was only 5 minutes long or whatever, and it's crazy how different it turned out to be, and I liked it. It was good.
It's the thing about like any writing experiment or any creative thing is that much like the sounds that you hear going through, it's going to take you on a journey. It's going to change. It's going to metamorphosize and become new things. Eventually, though, you have to at some point say, I need to pump the brakes and just put it out into the world and other people actually digest and make of it, and also listen to that feedback and hear what people like and what they don't. I think that for myself, this was a proof of concept in saying, well, what do I know about 40K? But I'm not looking to do something terrible. No one goes out to say, I'm going to make a crappy product. Yeah. But I have to genuinely say,
everyone, check out pistachio ice cream.
Q-tip cast,
Right, yeah.
But I think the thing that was really interesting about this as kind of a creative experiment was to say, look at something. What do I think is cool about this small section of 40K? What I really like is the idea of saying, guardsmen, there's a lot of stories that I've read and I've seen where it's the military personnel at the front, but what happens to the people who are those relay engineers, those code talkers, those Vox relays? I find those stories very interesting. And it also works well for a setting of an audio drama for saying, well, let's start to play with this and experiment, because it's entirely a theater of the mind. Everything is imagined when you're dealing with sound.
Yeah. Like, this did not inspire me to make a 40K army. But it did inspire me for 40K in general. Like,
that's good. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but I like that it isn't like this predominant thing. Like, it is this random thing that I've never thought about personally. Like, when it comes to 40K, but it totally fits.
Sure, it's an aspect of life that isn't given any thought in like the setting of 40K, which is cool to see someone expand on it.
Yeah, no, right? I really enjoyed that.
Like, how would a cook act in 40K, right? Like, what does the ruler of like a small district on a planet react when all of a sudden like the PDF is showing up because they say that there's a Gene Stealer cult here now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's like, you could get one aspect of the story. You could have shown the aspect of the Arathian actually blowing up and then the Inquisitor covering it up, but instead you chose to take some random guy who just happens to be in the story and show it from his perspective.
I really appreciate that.
It's a cool thing to see from someone else's perspective.
I think there's a lot of stories of that in 40K where you can follow the Astartes, you can follow the Inquisitor. My own, the things that interest and excite me most are, how do everyday people deal with these consequences, this society, this monolithic imperium that is unsympathetic. And also even the relationship that the narrator has with Gregory is the guy who, he's an officer. He has to go out and he has to see into these missions, but he also recognizes the narrator is not a, how well would he have tipped over to insanity on a war front? It doesn't matter. By the end of it, he still ends up hearing this demonic sound that, shakes him to his core. But there's a lot of that, you're not going to make it out here. And humans going out into space and fighting these big galactic wars, I would argue, we're not really built for that. But
no.
Like our bodies? No, not at all.
Our bodies or our minds.
We're weak. We are weak people.
So it takes a lot of force of will and a lot of technology to be able to get out there and hold this giant rotting carcass of a
God Emperor
together. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So Eric,
heresy.
Did you have any thoughts?
The music fit perfectly. So the guy who did it, like, he does that professionally.
Yeah, Robert.
Okay,
Robert.
So it's very obvious.
Yes.
Like he picked up the tones like very well.
Yeah. On our on the Lorehammer Instagram account, what we'll do is usually on a Sunday or Tuesday feature. He has 2 series. He has Battle Drums, which are all about these raging songs in Warhammer 40,000, and then he also has ambience of the far future. And so it's these different little themes and nuggets from across 30K to 40K.
Okay, yeah.
And what was his Instagram again?
Officio Audiorum.
Yeah. If you look at our Instagram of Lorehammer, you'll normally see Colin post Officio Audiorum stuff.
Yeah, he
at the very
does do
least
very
on our
good
story.
Stuff.
Yeah. No, the music is very well done. It fits very, very well. I think the hardest thing about that story, listening to it, is getting the difference of his narrative perspective switching straight over to his speech.
It's a challenge for audio dramas.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem no matter what story you do, right? Like,
and you know
unless you pick a different voice for his narrated mind.
Do you not have a
versus
different
his speech
voice in your head
which,
than your
which I think
I
is
sound
weird.
more like George Clooney in my brain. Is that what we're no,
Right, yeah.
No. But you know what? I think that's also just a testament to
sound like you in my brain.
That's terrifying. I think that's also a testament to some of the actors we're going to hear coming out of future cold open stories, that we're going to have people who have a much larger range than I do.
I don't think it's a problem of you, because it is like you are the main character in that story. I'm not saying is your problem. I'm saying that's a problem no matter who you get to do
any
it.
storytelling.
Yeah, if the narrator is the person's perspective, as soon as you have the narrator go straight into their speech without prefacing it with anything, it just takes a second.
There is air quotations.
Okay. Yeah. Mark, I saw you just literally doing air quotes this whole time.
As an audio drama, that is very effective, Mark.
That's just an audio drama.
You can hear the swish of the fingers. I agree, though.
Yeah.
I agree that is a challenge of the medium, that we take a look at all of, like, recently there's kind of been I won't say it's a renaissance because there's only a peppering of a few.
A renaissance.
Yeah, right? It's not like it existed before, but people like go on YouTube. Look at how many 40K animatics or like CGI short films are being made. That was a lot of the inspiration of saying, I want to be a part of this discussion. I want to be able to use my imagination to be a part of these different stories. Thing is, a lot of those, like Astartes, are badass. And some of the ones that we've seen, like the actual Astartes short film, or if we're talking about Hell's Reach and watching
Ultramarines,
of course,
the movie, fantastic.
Ultramarines, the movie. Looking at how they operate, those are stories that I think that Games Workshop, as well as many other animators, are doing an excellent job telling. But with cold open stories, I'd like to be able to explore some of the more smaller scope of, you know, what's it like to just be a regular person dealing with these unbelievable consequences, like with the assault on with the Solar War books coming out right now, and when they finally get to the throne of the Emperor
and the Vengeful Spirit.
And Vengeful Spirit.
You think that's happening in this series? No.
Yeah,
That's the next.
No, it's like
that's
8 books, right?
Yeah. That's just the Solar War. Then they actually have the Siege of Terra, and that's going to be another 15 books. Then they have the battle on.
It's all called the Siege of Terra, though, Mark. It's
no. But they're going to do another series.
He's trying to convince you, fair listener, that they need another 10 books. To sell.
I'm saying they
Enough
don't.
Enough
is enough.
Yeah.
Put out some anyway. Put out the definitive lines that happened in the flagship.
One of my favorite pieces of art, though, was when I was first getting into 40K, there was a piece of art of this guardsman just standing before, and it could have been Horus during the Siege of Terra. It could have been Abaddon. I don't remember, but it was fan art of this one guardsman just standing up against, and
Olian Pius.
Yes, the guardsman who stands up, who may or may not have been retconned from what my understanding is of the lore.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love the idea of just people dealing with these ridiculous, and hey, there's not going to be a chef story soon. Maybe I could try to squeeze something in.
No, it's
just dealing with the day-to-day of feeding humans.
Yeah,
how do you master that?
It's why I keep going back to the joke on the podcast about the farmer and the farmer's wife who's on the planet. When he just moves planet to planet and bad stuff happens, he's gonna show up eventually. It's gotta happen.
Yeah,
but
farmer's wife.
But Echo of Satellite 66B is a little bit more of a trying to find that narrative voice, how to do audio drama.
It's very narrative heavy. It's very a personal experience of his.
So are you ready now for something that's a little bit more action packed?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that, first story, great, love it.
Cool.
Lay it on me, the next one.
So the next one is called March for Mars. And it's the story of 3 Imperial Knights trying to get off world. So
is this during the schism?
These are all just original stories that. So this one,
So it has no time frame?
You could set this whenever you want.
Okay, cool.
And I will.
Well,
Okay.
please do. And thank you guys for listening. Let's hop in.
How many seats per dropship?
17 in the high occupancy config. That's including crew.
That's not enough.
It's what we have, sir.
12 dropships? Tell everyone to double up. Sit on each other's laps if you have to. We're leaving.
Sir. What about the big guys?
I think they're talking about us.
He should be calling us cavalry.
I like that. Princeps, how's your mount?
Quiet.
What about them?
We have maglocks underneath. We could haul one per dropship, but we'd have to lose the troop containers to do it.
So we triple up seats. We don't have much time. Make it work.
Yes, sir.
The captain is tense.
Test the broad spectrum data tether.
Confirmed. How's that sound?
Clear. Uplink established.
Bless the sacristans.
Still getting some ion feedback in my receiver, but I'm fine.
Perimeters reporting contact.
We're running late.
Isn't the cavalry always supposed to arrive late?
Princeps, what are your orders?
Let's go introduce ourselves.
Shit, they're fast.
Over there! They're trying to flank us!
Copy. 15 on the flank.
On your right!
I'm out! Reload!
Cuts is coming! Oh!
He dropped them! Hurry! Through it! What?
The cavalry has arrived. I think I scared them.
The swarm is massive. The Great Devourer moves like a starved beast.
Then do not let them go hungry.
Yes, Princeps.
All guard! Fall back to the dropships! Fall back! Leave it to the knights!
Their bodies darken the horizon.
Are you scared?
My machine carries the torch of Mars. We do not fear.
Yeah, well, my mount is getting a little unruly.
Like its owner.
Aw, and here I thought you purged your humor when you went under the knife.
Come on, we've gotta go!
Who are those guys?
They're Colossi.
Colossi?
Knights of House Colossi. You never heard of them? They're bug hunters. They chase down Tyranid fleets.
They hunt those things. They're incredible.
Five runners on your right.
I see them.
Steady. Don't let a single one through.
Princeps, what's your count?
20.
28.
40.
What? That's not fair. You have that cannon.
You have one mouth and two guns. Maybe you should try shooting twice as much as you talk.
Now he's making jokes? This is the end of the world.
Princeps, to your right!
Machine Spirit, ready the chainsword. What?
29? Target's neutralized. Quite the mess we've made.
The eyes of the Omnissiah are upon us.
Don't mistake this skirmish for a blessing, Aegil.
Apologies, Princeps.
Aiden, go cover the north flank.
Is there a problem, Princeps?
My mount's machine spirit is... it's resisting my commands.
Your knight is a holy relic. It is a sleeper. You needn't coax it. It will wake to your orders when you need it.
It's like fighting with one hand behind my back.
It lost a great battle, Princeps. Its ego was bruised. It is merely recovering.
I hope you're right. Captain, what is your progress?
Princeps, the first dropship is up and away.
And lucky me, there's no guns on this thing.
What's your situation, Airman?
I've got 4 companies worth of gaunts coming from the north and south. Carnifex is 2, 33 clicks out. They'll be on you in less than 5 minutes.
There's also the issue of the sandstorm to the west.
Captain?
What is it?
I'm spotting something big. Oh yeah. Titan class sighted to the north. It's a Hierophant.
Did he say Titan class? How big is it?
13, maybe 15 meters.
We have a short window to disembark, Captain. We can't hold back a beast that large.
All dropships, begin takeoff.
I think you still got some time before they...
What happened?
Fire from the west, anti-air ballistic. Come hit, damage to the engine, unable to restart.
What's going on up there?
Pull up, damn it!
This is bad.
Airman, report.
Come on! Come on!
Airman, report.
I'm okay.
What is your location?
My leg. 40 clicks north. Passengers are...
Where are we?
Oh, damn. They're pretty messed up. I can see the gods doubling back out my window. They're coming.
Scuttle the bird, Airman.
Yes, sir. The Emperor protects.
The Tyranids aren't supposed to have that sort of firepower.
They're all going to get shot out of the sky.
I don't suppose you have room in one of those suits for one more.
Captain, my knights Aiden and Agil will escort the dropships east. Fly them low as a caravan, out of range of the anti-air.
You want me to walk them?
It will be like the great marches on Mars.
Stay at a low altitude and they won't be able to hit you.
What about you?
I'll head west and slay that anti-air bioform.
Princeps, objection! The Tyranids will be upon us in less than 5 minutes. The target is 4 clicks away. You won't have time to make it there and back.
I'll keep moving west into the sandstorm. It'll cover my escape.
What about extraction?
We'll figure that out later. Go.
You hear that? Let's hurry before we get boxed in. Make a line. Pilots, convoy, knights are on point.
Dropships hovering low. No sign of mortar fire.
If we don't hurry, we're going to be surrounded. Princeps?
2.8 clicks.
They've encircled the exit point. Carnifex bilious detected. I've got the big ones. You tear a path through the swarm.
Let's go. Dropships on me.
3-1. The numbers aren't in your favor. Aiden, we have a problem.
We've got 100 problems. Look around. I've lost count.
The Carnifex are weathering my shots.
What? Is it a new strain?
It appears so. Ah!
Coming through. Make way. Come on, you tubs. There's a hole. Faster.
I'll lash the motive force from your cold dead husk.
Hang on. I'll double back.
Go! I'm already saved, for the machine is immortal.
Agil!
great time for you to start listening.
Princeps,
Yes,
the Gila has fallen.
confirmed.
Dropships are through. I'm covering the rear. What's your status?
0.25 clicks. Contact. Bioform spotted. Tyranid anti-air has been neutralized. Begin takeoff.
Princeps, we'll send a dropship to get you.
Negative. Begin with extraction. I'll head west into the storm.
But
contact the Tech Priestess in orbit. Tell her that I'll draw the Tyranids to the western extraction point.
March for Mars, Princeps.
Hey, boy. We won't have time to load you up.
I know.
The Emperor protects.
Just us now. All right. Let's do this. The cavalry is always late.
Wake up! Wake up! I didn't come to this backwater world to die. I came here to pilot you, you rotten thing! The other pilots, they couldn't sync with your interface, but I promised the Tech Priestess I could. You're not gonna make me a liar, are you? We needed every weapon in this fight. That's what you are, you hear me? I know what happened to you. You were a great machine and you lost your pilot and... Listen, I'm sorry, but I'm your new pilot. So we're gonna have to work together to get out of this, you understand? Look, if you and I are gonna make it out, we need to... Guess you can still smell me in this, hey? Activate Chainsword! Why are you fighting me? Damn it! Wake up! We're gonna die! Still nothing. Come on! Well, that's a start.
This is Tech Priestess Theory aboard the Ark Mechanicus. The eyes of the Omnissiah are upon you, Princess.
Tech Priestess! I'm sorry, There's a canyon ahead, and it's full of Tyranids.
I'm detecting that your right arm has been severed. Your efficiency has dropped 33%. You will need to make up the deficit.
Yes, Priestess, I will. My mount's machine spirit won't cooperate.
As stones will burn and the flesh will decay, machines have minds of their own, Princess.
Is that supposed to be comforting? It's been fighting me the whole time! I'm interfaced and it's like I'm moving with weights on! It's exhausting, and... I don't think I'll be able to reach an evacuation point.
I'm... sorry. I thought you would be able to rouse its spirit.
This stubborn machine doesn't want to do anything.
That's not true.
No?
It wants to die. Trauma can wound any soul. It fought. It was wounded. It will die. Do you understand?
I understand.
Be merciful, Princess. Carry out its final wish.
It's all right. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you.
And so that was March for Mars.
Oof. Did not end how I expected it.
No, that was
very 40K.
Yeah.
You mean nobody won?
A dropship with the guardsmen that we had started to hear crashes and they all die, and every night slowly is whittled away and they all die. But the one character that gets exactly what they want is the machine spirit of the Princeps Mount, who's wanted to die. So one of the things I was interested in with this story was kind of exploring what it's like when, first of all, when machinery doesn't do what it's supposed to, when technology isn't giving us what we need, and trying to respect...
Curse you, iPhone, I'm just trying to send a text message.
But also ending on a way of, who actually wins in this story is... For you can listen to it and you can say, well, the Tyranids had an overwhelming victory, and that's true. But the Imperials were able to make it off-world predominantly, and the machine spirit was finally able to find rest.
Yeah.
So it's actually a very happy story as far as 40K goes. I would argue.
Oh no!
Oh my.
Okay, so starting with you this time, Eric, what did you think?
So obviously very different because there's no narrator. I'm not made up my mind yet whether or not I prefer a narrator or not. You get a way more complete understanding of a story with a narrator, but you lose yourself in this story, right? It's much more of a blindfolded movie in this regard, and I like that. I like that I had to create the images that the narrator would be creating for me. Sometimes it is a little hard to understand the difference in sounds of what's happening. Like there's a couple sounds that are like prevalent throughout the entire thing that you learn to recognize and you understand what they are. And others you kind of have to guess at.
It definitely makes you work a lot more when you're working in this medium as a listener. It's not the give me my entertainment, beam it into my brain.
Yes. Shove it down my throat.
Yeah.
This is more of an experience that you have to go through. And like, I would even argue like I'd need to do this multiple times with this single thing in order to get like a complete picture out of it. Because like out of this, like I've already created scenes in my head for some things, but as I was generating those, there were other things happening in the story that I wasn't. And that's one of the reasons why I like books, is because you just go reread a line. You just go reread a paragraph and you don't really lose the flow of what's happening in the book, right? But with this, like to tap back 2 minutes or whatever, you would lose the emotional buildup that's happening. So.
It's also a far quicker paced story, like relentlessly.
Oh my
so.
God, yes,
And
way faster.
Was really trying to go for that as kind of a homage, also to, on the tabletop, the idea for Mars, and we know I'm a Mechanicus fan, and everything is about walking, but what is a march? You think of it as a slow plodding thing that's step. Generally, you're going to get where you're going eventually, but trying to play with that speed and that momentum throughout the entire story.
It doesn't help that I just watched Lord of the Rings, but the music, the last March for Ents, kept playing in my head. Every time they were like March for Mars, and then there's just like an empty landscape or an empty sound of like the wind whistling is the sandstorm, I think there is.
Yeah.
And then like the plodding steps of like the night, all I kept hearing was that sound, like because it's the piece titled Last March of the Ents, and that's all I could hear.
It's great though that you're able to connect those things, and again, major credit for both of these stories to the actors for being able to interact completely devoid of any relationship to each other.
Everyone sends their clips to you remotely.
Yeah, there's no Discord where we all record at the same time. There's no Skype session. We're talking. We have time zones. We have Japan, we have France, we have America, UK, Canada. It is really across the globe. We have people all submitting lines, and we work with all levels of experience to say, hey, let's try this line again, but in a different way. And sometimes we might send the clip of another actor so they have something to respond to. But I really have to give a lot of credit to the actors and actresses who were involved in this.
Oh, for sure.
For being able to work completely in an isolated bubble, read with the script. Stage directions, feedback, everyone was very receptive. And again, to our composer as well, who has come up with some incredible themes for the Tyranids and their march.
And then it's all something that's just coherent.
Yeah.
Right? It's a single thing that it doesn't feel like you did it all disjointed pieces. It feels really well put together.
That's the trick to any art, is make it look like it was all natural.
Trick someone into thinking.
Yeah. Mark, what did you think? Because you are the night collector.
Yeah. So the way I approach 40K, from being in it from such a long time, I'm always, like I said in the last one, I'm always looking for like details that are not common. I don't want to hear a story about Astartes. I don't care about that. It's overplayed. It's
First
done.
of all, how dare you?
Like it's not cool to me.
There's very few new ideas with Astartes.
Exactly. Like
it doesn't. That doesn't mean we don't like our Astartes stories.
No, it means that. But like, even if you look at like
No, it
Warhammer,
doesn't.
we've done 2 Space Marine episodes because it's a boring topic to me at this point.
Well, you have to talk about what you enjoy.
Yes. Yeah. So now on to you. So you said Imperial Knights. I love Imperial Knights, but your take on Imperial Knights, it's deeper than just giant robots. You play into that whole. I love that you play into the whole like machine spirit. Like lots of people don't know that it is like piloting a person essentially.
It's Ratatouille. It's someone sitting on the head pulling the hair.
No, it's a live mount, just like how horses have attitudes and they'll have like dispositions, and just so will these mounts.
Yeah, so I like that extra detail, and it's not just it could have been very easy to just write a story about knights
and it's malfunctioning,
stuff.
right? Like you could have avoided the whole soul aspect of it.
Yeah, and I really like that detail. Overall it was good. Like Eric said, it's sometimes a little hard to follow if you're touched in the head.
Sun-kissed, Mark.
Sun-kissed. But no, overall, I really enjoy it. Kissed by a sun.
Kissed by the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Sun, yeah.
Kissed by a rose.
The whole time we were listening to it, I was waiting for whether or not you were going to include a communication from the night. The more you talked about it, and especially when he was in that moment, I was waiting for it. I didn't know exactly. In my mind, it played very differently. In my mind, it was a voice. It was an actual just digitized voice saying something. And as soon as the tech priest was like, no, it wants to die, I was like, oh, I thought it was just going to start screaming like, kill me, kill me, kill me, or something like that, like something horrific that the pilot realizes like, oh God, like I can't let this thing live. It's just a tortured soul. So I think I'd like to listen to it again to pick out like that aspect of a tortured soul in it, because that's what I'm looking for when I found that out. I wanted to pick that out, but it moves so quickly for me, and I like to take things a little slower. So, but I'd like to listen to it again. personally.
All right, press play. And we'll give
All right, guys, here's another 20 minutes.
Second take. But
During the recording, actually, Eric, you started nodding when Aegil Lancet, the female night pilot, starts hauling ass and just wrecking stuff. And one of the favorite parts for me actually is 40K is also stuck in this regressive time period where things are not advancing. And we've talked a bit on the podcast about how we feel where the story is going, how things are developing. For me as a listener and as a fan of 40K, it's stories like this that I would like to see more out of Games Workshop, where when I was thinking of the Carnifex and it's shrugging off shots from her cannon, I'm like, this is you've been fighting the Tyranids for hundreds of years.
Yes.
Thousands.
Yeah.
No, well, maybe when was the first
Isn't it M40? This is like we're in M42 at this point.
I guess, yeah.
And so if this Night House of Colossi has been chasing them, hunting them like a safari,
a safari.
It's not difficult.
Crikey, this one's got a big tusk on it, eh?
I think it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that the hive mind would realize that this is a predator against it and have to adapt and change against something that's coming after.
Yeah, that's a very cool point.
So it's
well, first contact would be really cool, and this is kind of like a second first contact. What you're talking about,
yeah, like
it's something that you should know. You should know what's going on, and all of a sudden you're thrown the curveball in it. Like what? Like that should happen all the time in war.
Well,
right?
I argue that also makes good conflict in stories where,
for sure,
they're saying, okay, we're going to load up. It starts off, we don't have enough room. Okay, so let's actually double up, triple up. Let's fly out of here. That doesn't work because there's anti-air evolutions. So that goes down. Cool. We're marching. Well, now we're getting cut off and we lost our princess who has to go kill the anti-air. And I guess part of the one that the art of creating is you have to be really good at just throwing curveballs and just making your characters' lives miserable and just keep giving them difficult things.
Yeah,
the problem with 40K is it's hard to find that release at the end where they get what they want because you keep throwing curveballs at them. And
in 40K, I don't want anyone to get what they want in 40K.
Yeah.
Like I want the most vicious, the most cunning, the most sadistic, and like the most like ruthless person to get what they want, because that is the only kind of person in 40K who's like victorious.
Yeah.
The one who's willing to cast aside any kind of morals. Like a guy who would fight that machine spirit and continue fighting in it, that's the kind of guy who quote unquote wins in 40K. Not the guy who's like, no, I understand, like we'll die together. That's the kind of guy who like has a moral victory but loses in the end, right? And that's like a guy like that cannot have a real victory, right? Because honor always fails before viciousness and evil. So
between the two stories, was there any final thoughts or anything that you kind of pulled out that you enjoyed, or things that you'd like to see more of? I know, Eric, you were mentioning a little bit of the narrative structure and how both are very different in how they're presented. So I think that you'd be looking for more of a blend of that.
Personally, I prefer the 66B.
Okay.
But sorry, I just want to say that the one captain guy you had in March for Mars, he needs to narrate a story. Like, just be a narrator. And it needs to be done in present tense, not past tense. You write a story, present tense, and like all his sentences are less than like 8 words. And so like you literally get him to like set a stage, and then you have a dialogue and sound. And I'm picturing it in my head, and it's perfect.
Do you have a crush?
A little bit.
Did you have a favorite character?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like it all. I'm a lover.
I liked the Inquisitor. I liked the little tidbits you threw with the Inquisitor about the fact that his cloak was formless. He had no iconography on him. Didn't know where he was from.
He was a psyker.
Yes, and that's through the foggy mind that I was just about to get to. Like he fogged his mind.
Spoiled it for
his
him.
eyes, but his eyes also burned into his memory. Like I really liked that touch of it. So yeah, I have only praise for what has happened here.
So can I thank you?
What has happened here?
Can I tell you about can I tell you guys about what's coming next?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So shortly after hearing hearing this podcast, well, you'll also be able to hop online to Cold Open Stories to
because you have your own Instagram page, and
all
website,
all the socials, and website www.coldopenstories.com. What you'll be able to do is engage with other people who are listening to these. Hopefully, find your future acting partners or even other writers. We are soliciting people to submit story hooks, or we are also open to working and developing full scripts with submissions, which would be really cool. But so the next, shortly after you hear this, we will be doing our Casting Call 3, which will be taking place over the summer. And what that is it is a Adepta Sororitas story.
Just in time for their plastic release, hey?
Almost like this was planned. But it does involve a...
Does that mean we're getting more knights?
No, Mark.
No. Son of a bitch!
You can't be content with what you have.
Flipping the table.
We do have a Sisters of Battle story that we'll be doing a casting call.
Cool. Written by you?
Yes, this one is. But we'd like to be able to include some other writers in the future and get some other voices in.
Calling all ladies, just give me your phone number. I'll hook you up with Colin, but you gotta go through me first. All ladies.
No. Do you not remember that Sisters of Battle episode we did where we...
Oh, we know some ladies.
It's us.
Oh,
I do remember that actually.
Yeah.
You're not. You aren't. No, that is not.
Damn it. I thought I nailed it personally.
We did.
Yeah. So cool. A Sisters of Battle one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And we'll just leave their obstacle oblique until the casting call.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it'll be a little bit of a surprise of what they're up against.
I'll tell you what it is. It's Grey Knights murdering them to use their blood to purify their armor.
Oh my god.
No, but the clue that I will give is murder, and the theme is a very
death. What? Not in this galaxy, please.
So
cool.
Thank you guys for taking the time to listen, and thank you to the listeners for taking a ride on this episode.
No, thanks for doing what you can to enrich this universe.
And
Colin.
on that note, so me and Eric, we take care of the podcast front, but Colin, you've been killing it with our Facebook, our Instagram. You're doing these daily posts all the time. And everyone seems to just really be loving them.
Oh yeah, no.
They're
people
great.
love you more than they love us.
Oh,
That's
sure.
It's very obvious.
But yeah, go check out our Facebook page or our Instagram, because Colin will just do a sweet picture, one paragraph. You read through it in 30 seconds, but
and you get a flavor of that thing.
And it's not. Yeah, it just you get to learn a little bit every day. You don't have to go looking for it. You
don't have to listen to a 4-hour podcast to listen to us talk about folding paper.
But
although that is saved in the feed of the streets of Komora, how the urban planning went. But God. The thing I love the most about all of this is the capacity for community building. So whether it's you have the daily lore posts on Facebook and Instagram, or the community spotlights that we've just started, where we're showing off people's models and the scenes that they are setting. Same with the audio drama and Cold Open Stories, is being able to say, we all love this universe. Let's all find ways to enrich it and participate in it and make something new.
I'm a little ashamed that I can't tell you who did this, because I can't remember for the life of me, but recently I was just flipping through my Facebook and I saw this one battle group, and it was just a picture of a single Eldar Ranger model in this big thing. I was like, oh, what's this? And I saw this wall of text, and I just figured I'd start reading it, and they wrote a 2-page story, and at the end of it, it was it was just the startup for their battle together. So it was this Eldar Ranger. She walked through this portal trying to find this thing, and turns out the Astartes were already there. And it was just the preamble to this battle that these guys just played out on this table.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff. I love the narrative aspect that we can all contribute to and create.
Yeah.
So get involved.
Yes. Please
follow Lorehammer.
It doesn't matter if you're an amateur or not.
Yeah.
Especially message Colin and get your voice out there, because it's cool. He'll just and if your voice sounds absolute crap, then he'll just warble it and it'll sound like a demon.
He'll send it my way. I got a project going on. I'll use your voice.
No,
don't you worry.
Don't let him do that.
It's actually just a sounding board or a soundboard. I love Primaris.
That's right.
No.
So. Again, thank you guys. Cold Open Stories, Lorehammer. It's great to be sitting in with you guys, sharing these, and hopefully some people will enjoy this bonus episode and join us online.
Yeah, thanks for giving us the exclusive rights to and money that any of your Cold Open Stories makes.
Actually, that's
Lorehammer appreciates it. We'll see you all later. Thanks for listening.
I just got mugged. Thank you, everyone.
Echo of Satellite 66B was written and directed by Colin DeGraff, with music composed by Robert Renato Hack. It starred Colin DeGraff, Carl Willers, Omar Negron, and Brendan Richards. Cameos by Eric and Mark from Lorehammer, John, Dave, and Danny from Mob Rules, and Mark from the Battle House. March for Mars was written and directed by Colin DeGraff, with music composed by Robert Renato Hack. It starred PJ Canis, Aurora Gauther, Derek Hard, William Wells, Bradley Holmes, Thea Asmal, Stephen Jeffers, Jack Lee, and Brock